Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all the honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles of the great millstone. Peace and blessing to the Akim that are preaching and teaching with 144% truth and sincerity, and unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And to the Bayash Dawadad, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad. I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. I am Darash from Men of Valor Camp, Las Vegas, and this evening lesson is it's the summary of the story of Jacob and Esau. So we all know the story, but just make it short and sweet, to the point here, because this is literally what this is about. Jacob and Esau, their history. So we're going to start off with the book of Genesis, chapter 25, starting at verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord Yahweh was entreated to him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. Verse 22. And the children struggled together within her womb, and she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord Yahweh. And the Lord Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So Esau being our wicked-ass, sick, twisted older brother, and us being the younger one. In a carnal sense, yes, Jacob is older, but through the spirit, the birthright went to Jacob, so through the spirit, Jacob is the elder. Verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. So before I continue finishing that script, took hold of Esau's heel, that was symbolic. And if you think about it through the spirit, it's symbolic of the Israelites, through this word, pulling down Esau's wicked queendom, pulling down his society with just the truth, exposing him, exposing him for who he is. And his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. So, let's go to 2nd Esdras. Just to tie the point in here. This is going to be the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, starting at verse 9. Oh, starting at verse 7, Salakia. Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? So, the end of the first, the end of Esau and his world, and the beginning of it that followeth, which would be Jacob. Verse 8, and he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world. So right now, the Lord Yahweh Shai was said to make his return with the Edomites in rulership. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So after Esau and his people are out of rulership, then the Israelites will take over. We'll be back on top. So that hand on the hill, that's symbolic of Jacob, the Israelites, pulling down Esau and his nations and their his nation and their rulership. So, we're gonna go to the book of Job. This is going to be chapter 9, verse 24. And it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And the wicked, of course, Esau, Edom, he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Well, you know, if you do research on iconoclasm, I mean that's a lesson for another time. But do the lesson, read about iconoclasm. He painted over the original faces of the judges, which were dark-skinned people. He painted over the images, make it seem like they were pale-skinned, when really they were dark, melanated, brown. So, the earth has been given into the hands of Esau, Edom, because his blessing was the fatness of the earth and the dew from heaven. So, and the sword. That's his blessing, the sword. Technology, the military, and all this stuff that he has. That's his blessing. Jacob's blessing is the kingdom of heaven, which is the ultimate blessing. The blessing that Esau, Edom gave up for a piece of meat. The birthright. Thank you, Esau. Now we're going to go to Baruch in the Apocrypha here. This will be, skipped it. This is going to be the book of Baruch, chapter 2, starting at verse 28. As thou spakest by thy servant Moses in the day when thou didst command him to write thy law before the children of Israel, saying, If ye will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, where I will scatter them. So, because we were stiff-necked, meaning stubborn, we didn't listen, we had to be punished. Have everything taken from us. Have all these other, the Lord had all these other nations have us in derision, scatter us, have us in captivity, doing their, doing hard labor, beating us down, raping our women, so on and so forth. Verse 30, For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves. Verse 31, I'll read that. And shall know that I am the Lord their power, for I give them an heart and ears to hear. So, if you go to the book of Malachi, chapter 4, it talks about, how he'll send Elijah the prophet unto us again, in the flesh. And, Elijah was John, and John is Abba Bivens. That was back in 1969 when this truth started to get out there. Started with Abba Bivens from One West. And from there, look at it now. The wicked can't stop this. They can't stop this truth. They can't stop the word. All right, now I'm going to finish it off here. Just going to the book of Ezekiel. It's going to be Ezekiel chapter 35, starting at verse 5. And it says, Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. So ever since, Jacob supplanted Esau for the birthright, and, got the blessing from his father Isaac, who was old and, pretty much on his deathbed at that point. Ever since that day or time, Esau hated Jacob. Pursuant to Genesis 27 and 41. The days of mourning for my father are at hand, yet I will slay my brother Jacob. And what has Esau been doing this whole time, since we've been under his rule? Treating us like shit? Well, less than shit. degrading us, demoralizing us, making us the laughing stock of his, just. But through the Spirit, Esau, Edom, on the left-hand side is the whipping stick of the Most High. He's the sword. He was used to play his role to punish us because we didn't listen. So we had to be disciplined harshly. Okay, now going to verse 6. It says, "Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Saith thou, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee." So, since Esau Edom has committed the most heinous acts, not just to every other nation in the world, not just to the whole world, but to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai's nation, his people. So he's going to get double that recompense. Revelations, 13 and 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. And ultimately, after 1,000 years of hardcore bondage under the righteous rulership of the Israelites, pursuant to Obadiah, verse 18, the house of Jacob a fire, and house of Joseph a flame, and Esau for stubble shall kindle. And so Esau is going to be burnt away, and no more remaining of the house of Esau. It's all going to be over. So Esau, Edom, do what you got to do, live it up while you can, because you only have but a short time. So, this is just the whole summary of the story, made short and sweet and to the point for Jacob and Esau. So with that, I'd like to give all the honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles of the great millstone. Peace and blessing to the Akim that are preaching and teaching with 144% truth and sincerity, and unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And to the Bayash Dabadad, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. Once again, I am Darash from Men of Valor Camp, Las Vegas. See you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharala Wa Abad Babal. Shalom.